Ho 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 ho! Merry Christmas everyone! I'm Santa Mario here, and I'm back for some more yet again for the likes of the Mercy Toys videos. Excuse me, I just had to do with the actual Santa impression. So even then, yeah, welcome back to more Let's Play of Super Mario Odyssey for the Nintendo Switch, specifically in Luigi's Blue World mode. So, last time we have managed to able to done with the forms of the Metro Kingdom by able to actually doing with, well, to be expected, Luigi's Blue World. So today, we're about to begin with the forms of probably my least favorite kingdom to do in the forms of Luigi's Blue World. Now, don't get me wrong, I enjoy this kingdom as far as the actual main game itself, but for Luigi's Blue World on the other hand though, well, I'll probably explain that whenever we get this thing started. So even then, we'll once again just trying to able to hide myself the actual balloon to begin with, so we'll just able to get this started. Now as you can see right there, that ever since Junior forms of when you first start the actual Snow Kingdom, as a result, if you're trying to able to go for the main game, as you can clearly see is the fact that the actual snowstorm is about to be on its, on its approach, and then even then, to make matters even much more difficult, especially noticeable if you're trying to do in Find It mode, basically what happens is the fact that you never know where exactly where the balloons are, and same applies by the forms of trying to able to navigate through the actual level itself, although it might be felt exactly similar to the forms of how it does it in Koopa Free running races during the forms of, in the Snow Kingdom in general, but unlike the forms of how it does it in Koopa Free running missions, is that I'm simply able to do those no problem. But in this, not so much, because even then, if you really want to go for Find It mode, well, good luck, because otherwise though, you can't really see what's up ahead, and plus you never know where in the world do those placements actually go place onto. Even then, it usually takes place in the outside portion of the Snow Kingdom, but not in the inside portion of that specific kingdom. But regardless of everything else though, we'll still be able to actually just purchase some more power moons along the way, so even then though, to be expected at this point. So, yeah, today's day is the forms of the 10th of December today, according to the actual recording session for the time. Recently, that the State of Play PlayStation Direct was actually been up recently, during the forms of a few hours ago. Even though it's kind of sad to tell you, but I'm probably not going to mention about this too much up until tomorrow, whenever we get to Seaside Kingdom for Luigi's Blue World's sake, then we can expect to do that. But as far as everything else is concerned, well, basically, at the moment right now, that we actually still want the Snow Kingdom, as you can see right there. And then later on though, especially noticeable during tomorrow, we'll go through Seaside Kingdom, which hopefully will make things a little bit easier and simple enough. And also same applies for Luncheon Kingdom and Bowser's Kingdom, and to conclude with that for the Moon Kingdom, and hopefully we should able to, well, completely done with the forms of the entire Let's Play of Super Mario Odyssey. Oh yeah, apart from the actual virtual reality thing for just a few moments notice, but even then I just want to classify that. So, anywho though, aside from everything else though, is the fact that, although there's one thing I need to mention about this right away, is the fact that, well, unlike in any other kingdoms of the entire Luigi's Blue World game, is the fact that Luigi seems perfectly fine, especially noticeable compared to any other kingdoms. Whereas in this kingdom, on the other hand though, as you can tell, that he's actually feeling very cold and freezing. So even then, chances are, because as you can tell that, although except for this line right there, which actually feels remarkably similar to the previous kingdoms, but if you're trying to able to talk to him, especially noticeable for, trying to able to select these different balloons, if you couldn't tell, basically he'll able to actually say something a little bit more, a little bit more coldy kind of syndrome or something like that. So, yeah, apart from those side of things though, I think simply to say is the fact that this might actually go, well, as far as you can tell by this point already, this might actually be one of the shortest videos of the bunch, because of, as you can tell, I am not exactly good at this kingdom, specifically for Luigi's Blue World's case. Well, as I said earlier, don't get me wrong, I still enjoy this kingdom, but it's just that, well, for Luigi's Blue World's case, it might not be that easy to find though, especially noticeable because of the actual snowstorm in the background, and plus you can never really tell where the placements are, unlike the forms of how it does on the previous kingdoms for sure. So, but still, regardless of everything else though, we're still gonna able to actually get ourselves even more power moons as soon as we're done with each sessions when it comes to Luigi's Blue World itself. And plus, I really can't guarantee we can able to able to get the amount of combos, specifically if you're trying to find those balloons to begin with, but still, I really can't deny about that specific stuff, unfortunately. So, but regardless of such though, is the fact that we've only got about 2 more days to go until the Game Awards 2019 is getting to approach, so even then though, that should be pretty exciting. So, and plus everything else for this part though, not much else to really say, because even then though, don't worry, until tomorrow though, I will mention about more details on State of Play Direct, specifically for the PlayStation family of consoles, or to be more specifically, the PlayStation 4, including the upcoming PlayStation 5 or something like that. So even then, well, it wasn't until when it gets to the point until, you know, in holiday 2020, or 2020 to be more precise. So, and, as a matter of fact though, is the fact that according to IGN, for the actual website, they actually did state about the fact that Sony, as far as the actual PlayStation company as far as I'm concerned, I don't think they're going to be able to be making more handhelds every now and then because, well, it's pretty obvious because of how the fact that despite the PlayStation Vita didn't sell well during the forms of the English countries, well, it does do it very, very well in the actual Japan's country though, so I have no idea why that the PlayStation Vita has gone super failure and stuff like that, despite we've only got just only one new Sonic game on the PlayStation Vita specifically, because the majority of them are basically just from the PSP download, which I probably won't count those. So generally speaking, we've only just got one Sonic game on that specific system. I kinda wish if they're gonna be releasing you know, the new Sonic game on the PlayStation Vita, the proper Sonic game, but at the moment right now, especially noticeable since 2012, with the only Sonic game we have for that specific handheld is of course Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. No Sonic Rivals 1 and 2, just because, well, I don't think that most of the people seem to able to don't care about those two games basically, because obviously it's more likely a racing game with a mixture of 2.5D platform or something like that, so, but oh well though, better cells can be choosers I suppose, but luckily for the Wii U, at least they did manage to offer us quite a number of Sonic games on that specific system, including the honorable mentions, which is of course Lego Sonic Dimensions, in of course the Lego Dimensions game. So even then, well, as far as I've noticed something, is the fact that unlike the PlayStation 4 release, especially noticeable with any other versions of Lego Dimensions, is that, well, I've seen the actual gameplay footage of the Wii U version of the actual, the Lego Dimensions game, is the fact that the only noticeable difference I just realized is that the actual voice clips is actually not as, like, loud enough compared to the forms of any other versions of Lego Dimensions, because, well, as far as I've noticed something, is because of how the fact that, well, I just don't know what to explain about that. So, as you can see right there, we got ourselves another star right now, so even now, we're now on to 41, so, top notch for that, and we've already got about 9 stars to go, so even then though, that hopefully we can able to get something rewarding, well, spoiler warning, I don't think we can able to get anything special about it, although despite with the actual cosmetic differences here and there, but then again, we'll point that out whenever we finish up with this entirety of Luigi's Bloom World for that case. So anyway, so let's go ahead and just go all the way up, and hopefully, yeah, it doesn't seem it's actually gone pretty good for that specific run, so oh boy, it's gonna be one of those days, isn't it? Especially because I have no idea what I'm supposed to go around here, and yeah, because if you're trying to maneuver the camera around, although the arrow might actually help you for a bit, but it's just that, well, it's never consistently how the fact that when the actual balloons is actually located and such, specifically for this kingdom itself, and you never know of where the balloons are. So chances are you're gonna be spending, you're gonna be spending most of your time trying and wandering around all over the place just to know where the goddamn balloon is actually gonna be located. So again, nothing to be critical about it. It's just that it's up for a challenge though, but still. But it's just that if you really want to go for the highest streak of combos and stuff like that, even if you really want to try our best to do so, I think the best way to do this, though, is the fact that I highly recommend the Lost Kingdom, especially because, getting the actual streaks on that specific combo is actually easy to do. But still, regardless of everything else, though, it's just that this kingdom can be pretty much difficult to find any kind of balloons out there, so that's probably just me. So even then, though, and also I might be biased, so even then, let's go for this particular balloon here, so it's just that we can able to give this one a shot. And this time we only have like 38 seconds. Well, usually kind of speaking of such though, is the fact that the actual time system when it comes to Luigi's Bloom World for that case, if you really want to go for finite mode, it can be sometimes ranging from 5 seconds to 40 seconds for that matter. So even then, compared to hide it mode, they only have like 30 seconds to able to hide your balloon. So yeah, that's as far as I can usually say about this for this point. So, but then again, there's not much else I can really talk about this at this point. So even then, though, until tomorrow, then I should able to mention more of those specific stuff. Mainly when we get to nearly close towards the end of this particular Let's Play for sure. So even then. And surprisingly enough, we're actually almost done with this mode, basically, so even then there's not much else commented on that, so but you get the drill for that. So, as you can tell, that we're going to be able to, wearing the Santa Mario costume, as you can see, if you couldn't tell from the last video, because of, just trying to make it a little bit more Christmassy, especially noticeable because of how the fact that, well, we've already got about 15 days to go until the forms of Christmas is actually getting close. So even then, I'm really excited for it, and I'm sure many people across the world are super excited for it, especially for most of the gifts they want to get for specifically for this year's Christmas. I think for the majority of the actual Christmas gifts, actually, specifically for little girls especially, they always trying to wish for is the actual Frozen 2 merchandise. So even then, because I think it's pretty obvious, because, well, like the first film, is that usually Frozen is all over the place when it comes to merchandise and everything like that. Which I think that could be also the same applies for the sequel to Frozen, which is Frozen 2. So even then, though, that makes a little bit consumption for that. So now, I don't suppose we're able to actually get ourselves the Disney sequels for anytime soon, because obviously the next one in the lineup when it comes to the mainstream Disney films is actually Raya and the Last Dragon, according to the films of 2020's release. So, but that doesn't stop there, however, though, because then again, they actually revealed the actual new trailer for the live-action Mulan film, which, I'm a little bit skeptical to able to noticing this right about now, because they actually missing one element of that particular film that was missing from the original is, of course, Mushu from, the original Mulan. So even then, despite the fact that that particular film has been out for about 21 years now, especially because of how the fact that, well, that film did originally came out in 1998, which is the exactly the same year as when, the video games, as far as I'm aware, for Yoshi's Story, as well as the Japanese release of Mario Party, and especially noticeable with all kinds of stuff, including Klonoa Daughter Phantom Isle for the PlayStation 1, and all sorts of films like Ants, as far as I mentioned this earlier, and also same applies for, well, I'm probably not going to talk about it, because even then, you probably get the idea for that, so anyways, let's go for this particular female around here. So even then, we're able to actually just to find her balloon straight off the bat. Yeah, I don't think there's anything possibilities we can able to actually reach our coins counter up to specifically 9,999 coins, sadly, because, well, you know, it's just downright difficult sometimes if you really want to find every single of those balloons. So with that being said, hopefully things gets a little bit more relative until when we get to, you know, Seaside Kingdom, Luncheon Kingdom, Bowser's Kingdom, and eventually the final kingdom on that specific mode, which is specifically the Moon Kingdom. So even then, but then again though, that we pretty much done with the rest of the forms of the Power Moons, if you probably already noticed at this point, because, well, you know, we're just basically done with every single missions for this point now. So even then, let us go ahead and, you know, try this again, because I have no idea where the balloons are. So, yeah, forgive me on that specific run for this point, guys, because I know for the fact that this particular kingdom is actually super difficult when it comes to likely find every single of those balloons potentially. So, yeah, it's actually at the very beginning right there on that specific beginning spot of that particular kingdom. So, I guess I might have to pay attention to that. So, oh well though. Let's go for no matter what though, let's go for this one. And it's actually no wait. Let's go for this one instead. Because I know for the fact that the actual time limit system is actually going a little bit more shorter than is expected, so even then no chances are that then again, it's actually really impossible to do it by simply able to, well, unless if you potentially trying to able to grab the insane amount of coins as you can, and especially noticeable trying to perform like shortcuts like this, but then again though, it's not as easy as I find it to be, so even then, but still, I really can't deny by that. So even then, and so far, we've only got about 6,000 coins, which is actually not too bad, but not enough when it comes to likely purchasing some, well, costumes and stuff like that. So, yeah, unfortunately, I don't think I can able to do that one. So, plus because of how the fact that it does have a shorter time compared to any other balloons that we've able to find so far. So, let's do something else. Let's do this one, because I think this one might be pretty simple to able to get. It was actually, someone up there, so even then, hopefully it shouldn't give me that much trouble to begin with, because it's literally quite buried in the actual snow itself. But, you know, you might actually get the drill for that. So, anyway, so let's go ahead and find, let's go for, this one. Because I'm pretty sure that we actually get ourselves 40 seconds at minimum, so even then that we can able to expect to find that. So, without even like giving me that much trouble in comparison to the previous balloons that we have sort of trouble with finding it. So, I bet it's going to be once again buried in the snow. So even then, at least we did manage to find that at least. So, yeah, everything else will turn out. So even then, let's go ahead and move on to, I think what we might actually do is that we might actually do the final 2 balloons from now on, because, well, as soon as I keep on failing this loads and loads of times, we have to go for this next kingdom at this point. Like, I'm not gonna go for the actual parts itself like this, so I have to go for the next kingdom instead of, well, you know what I mean. So anyways, let's go ahead and get that balloon from that freezing water. And thankfully, it's actually really easy to get though, because, well, if you point at the actual, the arrow thing correctly, then it'll tell you where exactly where it is. So, let's go for this one now. So even then though, let's just see how, this is actually going to turn out. So, I bet it's going to be down right here. So even then, although I need to rotate the camera for a moment, and whatever though, because as you can tell, I managed to got myself hit right there. Although what's really odd about this is that your life up heart was supposed to be able to be carried over from the actual main game, but it turns out it wasn't. So even then, because you always start things off with just 3 units of health instead of like double the amount of health you can get. So there's a little bit different, but I'm pretty much used to that. So even then, because I'm pretty sure it's like a side activity instead of like the actual main thing, unlike the forms of how it does it on certain other mini-game objectives, like, you know what I mean, Koopa free running, and especially noticeable something completely much new or something like that. So, I get a horrible feeling is the fact that it might actually be somewhat up there, which, again, it doesn't really tell me where exactly what the balloon is, so, oh, please don't tell me it's gonna be at, It's gonna be right in there, isn't it? Oh, I have to use the actual fly flu for that. Yeah, sometimes though, it always attempts to confuse the actual, it gets like so confusing sometimes to me though, because I was expecting if I was gonna able to get that bloom from the very bottom or from the likely higher up, but most of the time though, I just have no idea where the actual placements are, so even then, we'll try that again, and hopefully we could able to make it for this point here, so even then I will go from here at this point. I kind of wish if the actual fly flu were able to move faster by able to actually shake the actual Pro Controller or something like that, although it might not be, because even then though, I think it's basically too big to able to maneuver from, so yeah, I guess that's pretty much it basically. So even then, let's just go ahead and get some more coins from here, and I think we should probably stop here because I just hate to say this, but it's actually pretty rough. Like, a little bit rough around the edges though at most of my time, because, well, I just simply cannot even tell where the actual other placements of the balloons actually are, because, you know, you can't really tell what's up ahead because of the snowstorm and stuff like that. But it does manage to able to fit really well, especially noticeable for this costume I'm wearing, so, but yeah, you probably know what is the actual point here, so. Anyways, let's go inside here, and as usual, we'll purchase some more power moons. So even then, there's another 10 set. So, yeah, it looks like we're almost nearly towards the end at the actual 999 power moons count. So even then, we're actually getting pretty close. So I think we can able to get ourselves 29 left, which according to the actual mathematician equation, well, I can just simply able to know the actual mathematic things itself, I suppose. So anyways though, let's go ahead and purchase this, and I think we'll able to purchase, actually no matter what though, I think we should probably, let me just double check for a moment. Nah, I think I'm actually gonna save up, because, well, you know what I'm like, I'm just gonna have to save up some of the majority of those coins, as you can tell, before we able to move on to the next kingdom, because again, you know, it's a little bit rough around the edges on this particular kingdom for Luigi's Bloom World, to be honest, because, well, I just simply can't even tell where the balloons are. That's all I have to say about it. But anyways, we got 970 of those power moons, so we, again, as I mentioned this before, we've already got about 29 left, so hopefully we'll gather 10 more in the forms of Seaside Kingdom, and another 10 from, you know, Luncheon Kingdom, and a final 9 for Bowser's Kingdom, or the Moon Kingdom. So even then though, it really depending on the actual length of the videos are. So I think what I'm gonna do here is the fact that, well, I'll mention more on that whenever we get to Bowser's Kingdom. So even then yeah, we'll probably able to change costume because, well, Santa Mario might not actually fit well for this kingdom. Well, it does in Snow Kingdom because of the actual temperature. So let's go ahead and change into something a little bit more nostalgia feeling, such as, well, Super Mario Sunshine. So yeah, because obviously we got ourselves the actual Shine Sprite shirt on, and as well as the familiar glasses, as we're all too familiar with. So yeah, I guess we'll end things off here. So join me next time on Let's Play Super Mario Odyssey. It's the fact that we're able to do Luigi's Bloom World, except this time around we're dealing with in Seaside Kingdom. So see you guys then. Later, fellas.